All right, so now I want to talk about a really important concept when it comes to any type of segmented, automated email marketing, and that's this idea of opening loops. Now, this is it's a concept that's been around for decades, probably even longer than that in entertainment and marketing. But really, it was my buddy Andre Chaperon, who has a fantastic course called Autoresponder Madness that you should definitely check out. It really is a great training. He was the first one who really kind of opened my eyes to the power of opening loops, leaving them open, and then closing them. So what is an open loop? An open loop is nothing more than a cliffhanger, right? An open loop is when in one email you allude to something that you don't really deliver on it until the next email and maybe the email after that. Now, I was a big fan of the TV show Lost while it was on the air. I don't know if you were, but I loved that television show Lost. And one of the things, if you talk to anybody who was a fan of the show, there's a lot of shows that are like this, but the big critique that everybody had in the show is before they would answer one question, they would ask two more. And that's the basic idea, right? Soap operas do this all the time. In fact, this is part of the reason that Andre calls his method of email copywriting writing a soap opera series, right? Because in soap operas, there's this big dramatic thing that takes place. There's a cliffhanger, and then the episode ends. And in the next episode, they may or may not pick up that particular cliffhanger. They may not deliver on what happened. Right? They don't answer the question of what happened. Now, what this does to us, in our brains, because we like to close loops. Our brains like to close loops. We have to do it. It's more efficient. When there's something that's unanswered, when there's a question that gets asked but doesn't get answered, it creates this tension. Now, tension is a valuable tool in the hands of a marketer because tension creates attention. Right? Tension creates attention. So if you can create tension in the mind of your subjects, then you're going to create attention, and what follows that is authority, right? So if somebody holds your attention for an extended period of time, well, they have to be an authority, right? You're not going to give something as valuable as your attention away to somebody who isn't worthy of it. So this is a really, really valuable tool, and it's so simple the way that it can be done. So here's kind of a general overview of how it's done, and then you're going to see this play out in a lot of the emails here in the Indoctrination series, but you're also going to see it playing out in many of the other campaigns that we have for you inside of the machine. So let's say that we have a 4 email series, right? So this is email 1, this is email 2. Obviously these are just boxes, right? I'm not writing actual emails, you get the idea. This is email 3, and this is email 4. So it's a 4 email series. Now I know I said in the Indoctrination series that you should try to keep yours to 3. Let's say you violate that rule, which is perfectly fine, by the way. Rules are meant to be broken. And you go ahead and say, no, I want my Indoctrination series to be 4. That's fine, by the way. It's great. Here's the way that the kind of open loop thing happens. Number 1, every single welcome message that we have needs to have a PS. A PS is hugely valuable because next to the first line, the most read bit of text in an email is the PS. Because usually what most people do, and ask yourself if you do the same thing, I know that I do, right? You'll see an email, and you'll read, you'll see the subject line, obviously, and it either interests you enough that you open it or it doesn't. None of this matters anyway. But let's assume that the subject line does its job and you open. You're going to read the first line, and if it still seems interesting, what do? You scroll all the way to the bottom because you want to see, how long is this thing? Can I read it in the time that I have, right? Now, when you scroll all the way down to the bottom, what are you going to see? You're going to see that PS at the very bottom. And it's kind of weird. Right? It's kind of interesting. We don't really use postscripts in normal human interaction as much as we might have when we were writing letters. So you see it and you read it, and so it's a really great opportunity in that PS to open a loop. Right? It's a really great opportunity to open a loop. Another really good role of a PS, by the way, is to encourage people to go back and reread the thing. So you might have one PS that says, by the way, did you see what I just said in paragraph number 5? If you didn't, you should go back and read it again, right? That's going to make people go back and read paragraph number 5. But you might have a second PS, a PPS, which is, again, fine. You can have 17 PSs for all I care. But you might have a PPS where you open a loop. So you might say, you definitely want to keep an eye on your inbox tomorrow because I've got something really great for you. I'm going to answer, boom, this big, and you open a loop, you leave a cliffhanger. You make a really big promise that you don't deliver on here. You say, but, I'm running out of time, so I'll get back to you tomorrow. Now, so in tomorrow, they're waiting. they're excited because they want to know whatever the heck it is, the loop that you open, they want it closed. They don't just want the information that you promised, they want to close the loop. It's not just about getting whatever value you hinted at here. It really is about closing that loop so they don't have to worry about it anymore. So there isn't that tension. They want relief for the tension. So what do? You send them an email the next day. Now this is where you can have a little bit of fun with them, right? You can, in this email, start talking about something completely different, right? Or in some cases, and this is kind of having a little bit of fun with it, you can say, now I know I promised at the end of yesterday's email that I was going to tell you this, and I'll get to that at the end, but first let me show you this. So you might hint at it here, right? And you might say, I'm going to go ahead and deliver on it, down here at the bottom, but maybe when you get to the bottom, you say, oops, I know I said I'd tell you this thing, but I'm out of time, or I'm running out of space, or my hand hurts from typing, or come up with some like ridiculous thing, right? Again, just having a little bit of fun. That's the purpose of the indoctrination series, right? Never forget that. You want to have fun. You want to show a little bit of your personality. You want to show that you're human. So you might just joke around with it, or you might go ahead and deliver on it. So maybe you deliver on it, maybe you don't, but what you want to definitely do is you want to open another loop, right? So down here, we're going to open another loop, and maybe we say, I know I didn't have time to get to this one, but in tomorrow's email, I'm going to not only answer this question, but I'm also going to answer this other question that you should be wondering, right? So maybe it comes around to email number 3, and you go ahead and you close this loop here, and maybe down towards the bottom, yep, you finally close that loop that was here, right? Maybe you finally go ahead and you close it, and that's great, but you don't want to close all the loops, because if you close all the loops, if you answer all the questions, then there's no more tension. When there's no more tension, there's no more attention. When there's no more attention, you're no longer an authority, you're no longer interesting. So in this email, let's open another loop. Now maybe we open it up, maybe we answer it in this one, or maybe we don't. Maybe it goes on and we answer it in an email the next week, right? That's where, there's no right or wrong way to do this. The point is, you never close a loop without opening a new one. And you might say, I'm going to go ahead and open 2 loops before I close another one. Now you can get ridiculous where you open way too many loops and people can't keep track of whatever the heck it is that you're talking about, and they just give up. That almost happened in the TV show Lost. I remember I was a viewer, and I think it was season 2 or 3. Fans freaked out because you keep asking questions, there's no payoff, there's no payback. I feel like when I watch a new show, it's just more tension. And if you go tension with no release, then people get frustrated and they freak out and they're gone, right? So you do have to relieve the tension every now and then. So a general rule, open a loop, close a loop, open a new loop, right? Or you might say, open a loop, hint at closing the loop so there's hope, open a new loop, close a loop, open a new loop, right? What you kind of see here in a diagram is generally how we like to do it. It's a good way to have fun, but that's the key to this. I want you to have fun. I'm not telling you to go out and lie to your people, right? We've had emails where we joked around and we said, oops, I'd love to tell you about I'd love to answer the question that I asked in the previous email, but I'm out of space, and then parentheses like, hint, yes, I know you can't technically run out of space in email. I'm just having a little fun with you. I'll see you tomorrow, right? So I'm not saying that you trick them, but you have a little fun. Now, if that's not appropriate for you and your brand, you can still do this in very clever ways without necessarily getting, cutesy and kitschy like that. But I want you to keep this in mind. When you go back and you review your emails, what loops did I open and what loops did I close? What loops did I open? What loops did I close? If you're not continually hinting at whatever's coming next, you're going to lose the tension, you're going to lose attention, and then you're going to lose authority. And I don't want that to happen. So remember this. This is a powerful, powerful concept, the concept of opening and closing loops. Keep it in mind as we move forward, certainly as we dive into the videos in this particular module. All right, I'll see you in the next video.